Hey folks, it's another live stream. Yes, I'm trying to get this in ahead of Paul this time rather than afterwards. But yeah, hopefully some of you will catch this. It is a bit short notice. I think I only told people on the train I was coming back ready to do this. So if you watch this after the fact, then fair enough. But yeah, sorry about yesterday. I didn't do an ESSEN diary for Thursday for a very good reason. I was intoxicated. Yes, I went to the Patreon meetup for Paul Grogan, and it was great fun. And I thought I'm just gonna have a couple of drinks, long island iced tea and a beer, just enough to enjoy the night, and then I'll go home and do the vlog. Problem is, Jeremy Howard arrived. Yes, Jeremy Howard. Yes, as in man v meeple, and we get on quite well. I mean, we have a very similar outlook as to how we look at the industry, other creators, and games, and like speaking our mind, being honest, that kind of thing. And so we were drinking quite a bit. We were having round after round after round, and it's like, oh yeah, I've had quite a few beers. And by the time I got back, it was like 11:30, I think, and I was definitely in no state to do a vlog. In fact, I was slightly hungover this morning, and I've had a bit of a headache through half the day. Thankfully, it eventually went away. But yeah, it was fun, but not vlog time. So hi, Jerome, hi, Klaus, hi, Jack, and hi, anybody else who joins this chat in a minute. So yeah, another day, another few games played, some more purchases, and a special event in the evening, and more meetings. So yes, it has been quite a long day. I'm certainly quite tired, so I definitely will get a bit of an earlier night tonight, because tomorrow I start demoing for Greater Than Games. So I'm going to be there demoing Sentinels in the Multiverse Definitive Edition tomorrow at Greater Than Games all day. So I got to be there from 9:30 all the way to 7:30 doing nothing but demo Sentinels in the Multiverse, and maybe chipping in for Spirit Island if that person needs help. Whew, it's going to be exhausting. But anyway, so I got 2 days to cover. Now, it's not that I've played a ton of games, because when I go to this ESSEN Fair now, as compared to when I first went there, I don't get to play as many games as I used to, because I got to do meetings. I got to meet with publishers. I got to get my name out there, give a business card out and stuff. So I go to those meetings and I get review copies. And what I'll do is I'll get there early with my exhibitor pass and buy a ton of games. But with those games, I'm effectively, buying them ahead of review. So, I mean, I've bought Atawa, I've bought Lacrimosa, I've bought Hamlet, I've got review copies of Flamecraft and Tidal Blaze Banner, I've got an Endless Winter review copy, I've got a review copy of Vengeance, Roll and Fight, I've got review copies of Starship Captains and Deal with the Devil, so a mixture of purchases and review copies, but I haven't played most of those games, if any of those games yet, because I'm going to do it when I get back home. What's the point in playing a demo of a game that you've already bought or got to review? You might as well just do it later, although there are one or two exceptions. Hello, Victory. So the games that I've been playing have mainly been games that were on my maybe list, where I'm kind of going, I don't know what to think of them. Maybe I should get them, maybe I shouldn't. And I haven't been able to play all the ones on my maybe list. I couldn't get into a demo of Beer and Bread, I'm afraid, and I couldn't get into a demo of Wolves. And I can't even buy either of them either, because they both sold out. So those are just going to have to wait for when they come out on retail. But if I can get hold of Beer and Bread and Wolves, I would actually like to try. I actually asked Pantasaurus for a review copy of Wolves, and I haven't seen anything since. Actually, I'm not sure I'm allowed one, because I think it's just the US. But either way, when they come out on UK retail, I'll try and give them a review then. But I have played a few games on my maybe list, and that's why I've titled this stream Games You Might As Well Pass On. Yeah, not to say any of them were bad. One of them's not particularly great, but the rest of them are fine. They're decent enough games for the most part, but would I pay the money for them? No. So, so in response to the query, I have picked up pretty much 90% of what I wanted to get, whether it's by paying out of my own cash, whether it's by Patreon support, or whether it's by review copy. Again, thank you, Patreons. The other ones who allow me to make this content for you. But there was like 10% of them I haven't been able to get, or I will get after ESSEN via other means. Like I'm going to get a Splendor Jewel from Asmodee. I'm probably going to get Heat from Asmodee. So there's not. I didn't have to buy every single game here. But anyway, so what have I played? Well, I already talked to you about Splendor Duel and Heat the other day. So let's just go over what I played today first, because it's fresh on my mind. So I can't share screens on this tablet. So I am kind of restricted to my phone in terms of like showing you stuff, but hopefully some of it will come out on screen. So that is a little bit bright, but no, I would just have to make do with it. But this is Astra. Okay, so this is the weird star constellation game for what do you call it? Mind Clash games. So they've done a line called Mind Clash Play. This is supposed to be their light, easy games. Well, they are light. Actually, yeah, they are reasonably light. I wouldn't call them gateway level light. I mean, this isn't like introductory level games, but they are lighter, much lighter than a normal fare. So I would certainly, equate it like that. I sat down, 5-player game. We didn't finish the entire game in the hour, which is one of the negatives. But the game basically involves you like spending crystals in order to join up dots on these constellations in order to cover stars. If you complete the card, you get the card as a special ability. Otherwise, if you contributed, you get a bonus depending on the order of who contributed the most. Now, I like his guide. Yes, we played beer. We certainly played beer at the pub. I don't think we played bread. I don't think bread was involved. But you join up these star constellations, and it's basically just constantly micromanaging those crystals, getting what cards you need, getting sets, or using special abilities now. And you do it with dry erase pen, so the production quality is pretty good. It's okay. I have some issues with it though, especially in lots of players, like 4 or 5 players. I would say, I mean, certainly in that 5-player game we played, you can get screwed over literally just because you're unlucky enough to be going after certain players. It's not like, oh, I made a bad decision. It's like, oh no, one player decides, right, I'm going to put several on this card. And then the next player after them goes, well, I'm going to do several on that card. And then the third player does, well, I'm going to finish off the card, and all those 3 players get bonus. It's not like I did anything wrong. My turn hasn't come up yet. So what am I supposed to do about it? And that kind of hurt me a little bit. I've got a lot of water available because I'm going to need it. But the thing is also is that 5 players, I mean, it's like 20 minutes per player. This is not a game that warrants an hour and a half of my time. It's not something that deserves to be 90 minutes long. This thing should be 45 minutes, and it is not. We didn't even finish it anywhere close in the hour. And it's just rinse, repeat, join up dots, get cards, join up dots, get cards, join up dots, get cards. And it's not exactly accelerating to a crescendo or anything. It just does what it does. And so on top of that, there's also some of those card powers are majorly unbalanced. You get a card power that's like, if you rest, you get to gain your reset value in crystals regardless of your max. Well, big whoop. You're only going to rest when you haven't got that many crystals. But then there's another power that says you can join 3 dots on 3 separate cards. That is insanely powerful, especially if you can use it multiple times, because being able to cover multiple cards means that you contributed to multiple cards. It's fundamentally better than the other cards. So I came out of it just feeling a bit meh. It's okay, but honestly, the Mind Clash normal games are a lot better. I think Astra is fine. First impressions, probably a 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 5 or 6 out of 10. It's not one that I would recommend. I don't think it's one that you got to like jump out and get. It looks nice, it's well produced, but yeah, it overstays its welcome certainly with 5 players, and I don't think 4 is going to be any better. I think it's probably best as a 2-3 player game. I'm not sure if it's soloable, but yeah, it's meh. I was a little bit disappointed with that one. Okay, now let's see if I can show this one up here. Oh yes, hello Adrian. Right, this one here, My Shelfie. This is a little, I think it's Phil Walker Harding, I think, and is it Matthew Dunstan? I'm not sure. It was somebody else who did this one, but it's Cranial. Yeah, I can't see it from here, but it's Cranial Creations. It's a very light little game, and I basically call it Advanced Connect 4 because that's essentially what it is. This one has you with a 5x5 effectively calyx shelf in front of you, and you've got this grid of tiles in front, and everybody selects tiles, but you're not allowed to take any that are completely enclosed by other tiles. So you've got to take up to 3 in a line, straight, horizontal or vertical, and with those colored tiles, you drop them in a column in your shelf, so that effectively it is like a Connect 4. So you drop them at the top where the slit is, and they fall down. And what you're trying to do is that you're trying to make up patterns like you can see on that card there on the left, but you've also got objectives like get 2 rows with colors that aren't the same, or get a diagonal of 5 of the same color, get groups of colors together for more points. Very simple scoring. And that's essentially all you do. It replenishes when you're left with singular tiles, and you just carry on until someone finishes their bookshelf, and then you count up the points. I don't know what Fairy Tale Inn is. I'm not sure I'm aware of that one, but I found the game charming. It's nice. It doesn't blow my mind. It is different. I mean, to have this weird like shelf, actual literal shelf, Calyx shelf that you're putting effectively a Connect 4 style thing in, it's quite cool. But there's only so much you can do to stitch up other players. You are kind of just doing what you're going to do. I won easily, although I think it was only 5 points in it, so maybe it wasn't quite a massive victory. But as I say, I got my card done. I did both public objectives first, and it's fine. Yeah, I mean, it's on BGA, is it? Shelves. If my shelfie is on BGA, then fine. I'll just play it occasionally on BGA. I mean, I liked it. 7 out of 10 first impressions. It's good. It's endorsed. I would endorse it, but it's just nothing amazing. I mean, it was also €40, which £35. I mean, it's not bad. I would like it to be a little bit cheaper, maybe like on the €30 mark, because I mean the tiles aren't particularly great quality. The designs the artwork is basic, although it is nice seeing cute little kitties. But mainly you're paying for those 4 shelf things. And honestly, the more players you add, it doesn't really add much else to the game. So you might as well just play it as a 2-player between 2 of you. But it's cool. It's fine. 7 out of 10, my shelfie. I didn't decide to buy it. What's next? Here we go. We're going to get on to, spoiler alert, probably the worst of all the games I played, and this is called The Great Split. Okay, so this is from Horrible Guild. Okay, I played Evergreen yesterday, and I might be able to talk more about that in a minute. But basically, this is The Great Split. So this is a game that completely surprised me. I didn't know what on earth this was. It just literally appeared, and I saw people with copies. It's like, huh? What is this? I don't know. It's basically the epitome of the I split you choose mechanism, probably just as much as New York Slice. But what you do is that you've got a wallet, and you get these cards, and they reward you by leveling up tracks. And that's kind of what this game is. It's track leveling. It's an engine builder game where basically, whoop, there we go. Those things there, you can see multiple cubes going on tracks. And so they score in different ways. But basically what you do is that you take your cards, and depending what round it is, it tells you how many you're allowed to put in the wallet. And you have a splitter card to separate them. So you put an offer in your wallet, splitting, say, 2 on one side, 3 on the other side of the splitter card. Shove them all together, stick them in your wallet, give it to the person on your left. You then also receive a similar wallet from the person on your right. So the person on your left has to do an I split you choose choice on the wallet you just gave them, and you have to do an I split you choose choice on the wallet you've just received. You take the offer from that wallet to the right, you receive back the other one from the wallet on your left, put them together, play the cards, and level up the tracks accordingly, and you score points in different ways for the tracks. Part of this game I really like. The I split you choose mechanism is good fun. I like it as a mechanism. It works in Hanamakoji and a few other games like that, and it is quite cool having to make that really hard choice, both in what you're going to offer and what you're being offered. But there's 2 fundamental flaws with this game. Firstly, if you play this with anybody who's going to get heated with like the choices that somebody makes, it's going to get pretty heated, because it's going to get pretty like angry, because you could be giving the wallet to somebody else and you expect them to make a certain choice, and then they don't make the choice you want, and it kind of aggravates them in the sense of, well, why didn't you do that? Clearly I gave you the better choice here. And it could lead to some fun banter, but I can see people taking it a little bit too seriously. And even I had one moment where I was like, seriously, I just gave you the best offer in that. Why aren't you taking that? And there's certainly, if somebody doesn't get what they're doing in the game, it could fundamentally unbalance the game for another player. Because if somebody's making really poor choices, then someone is benefiting from this. Now, I'm going to explain about games first, so I will get to questions like this later, so I'll try and run back to this, but keep the questions in mind, because at the end I'll basically say quick fire Q&A. All right, but yeah, so all those I splits you choose, it goes through multiple rounds. There's a couple of scoring phases, and then you total up the victory points and that person wins. I like the I split you choose part of this game, but all you are doing is leveling up tracks. That's it. It's a track leveling game. That's all you're doing. You're basically just choosing which tracks you're focusing on, and there you go. So, all right, the green and blue like to be in conjunction with each other, so I'm doing that this game. Right. Okay. Next game, I decide to do the art track, where it scores based on a moving slider. It's random. The books, you have to get so many books. The gold lets you move on other tracks. It's basically, I mean, games like Tapestry and a few other little track games kind of remind me of this. And it's kind of like the mechanism of how you do it is fun, but the goal, as in what you're achieving, isn't fun. I don't care about leveling up a bunch of tracks. I don't care about that dryness. I mean, you forget the theme kind of destroys itself, before you even realize it's called the Great Split. I mean, you're supposed to be getting wealth. The cover looks like something out of the Great Gatsby. That's the whole point of the Great Split. And yet the theme is non existent here. So it's just basically pick which tracks you're going to go for. Your starting tile actually gears you in a certain direction anyway, so why ignore it? And that's it. It's just rinse, repeat, I split, you choose, rinse, repeat, I split, you choose. 2 to 7 players, I mean, best played with 3 to 5, really, and that's kind of it. I mean, whoop-de-doo. Great Split was kind of disappointing. 5 out of 10, it's average. Part of it I like, part of it I don't like, and it's just like, meh, whatever, really. It's an engine builder game. It's cool. It's slightly different, but it's kind of average, and I don't really recommend it. I don't think it's gonna I don't think it's got the staying power. You'll play it and you'll go, oh, that mechanism was really cool, but you won't want to play it that many times because it's just not that varied. Right. Now let's go on to a couple. Well, one I'm just going to mention briefly. You might remember I did a review last year for a game called Geishas Road. So this is Geishas Road here. This is a sequel to Hanamakoji, where you play these cards based on trying to influence geisha, but in Geishas Road, you've also got this little mini-map thing on the right where the geisha move around. You're trying to get them to circle back to their own building, but you can also get guests. But the mechanism is the same as Hanamakoji. 4 action tiles, you have to do each one, any order you like, each one once, and you go with it. And I said Geishas Road was brilliant. I really thought it was a fun 2-player game. Not as good as Hanamakoji, but I thought it was brilliant. Turns out the version I had was pre-Kickstarter, and I forgot that. So I never paid attention to the actual Kickstarter. And okay, fine. So that was a bit of a shock. The designer, the one whose hand is in the picture, I played it with him, and this was the post-Kickstarter version, so the finished version of Geishas Road. I now intend, when I get there in the morning, to go to Emperor Sport and buy Geishas Road and replace the one I've got. The differences that happen between my version and their version are all amazing. In fact, they elevate the game. Not quite well, I don't know, actually. I mean, Hanamakoji's not quite to Hanamakoji's level, but man, it brings it closer. Because what it's done is it's added some extra ways to win the game. So you can actually win the game outright with an auto win condition. This is how I actually beat the designer. I actually won the game. In the first round, I influenced 4 out of the 5 geisha. And if you do that, automatic win. Doesn't matter about points. I gave him all the guesses in the world, but I aimed to shoot for the moon and go for that 4 out of 5. I did it, auto win. But the other things they've done is that they've improved the graphic design. So certain cards give you guests. It's printed on the card. There is now a reference aid card for everybody. Hello, reference aid. But there's also a score sheet, a score pad, so you can score up easier. It's now only 2 rounds, not 3, so the game doesn't outstay its welcome. It's more streamlined how the geishas move around and how you get guests. But there's also tiebreaker tokens. When you normally get guests from playing a 1 or 2 card, instead of taking guests, you can take a tiebreaker token for winning over the geisha. It's not points, but it could win over a particular geisha. And it's like, that's a cool decision. And it's actually what won me the game, because I won 3 geisha outright. We tied on another one, the blue geisha. But because I picked up the tiebreaker token earlier, because I knew I was going to tie, won the 4th, won the game. It's basically streamlined the game while adding in some cool extra elements. So basically, it's even better than when I reviewed it a year and a half ago. I am going to go buy Geishas Road, this new proper version, and add it to my collection and replace the pre-Kickstarter one I got. That's one going in the bin. I'm going to keep this version of Geishas Road. So yeah, these two, Hanamakoji and Geishas Road, are some of the best two-player games in existence, I find. They are just so good. I mean, I did my top 100, and I've already put Hanamakoji on there. Pretty much you can just put Geishas Road alongside it in the same number, because frankly, they are kind of similar games. I mean, if you don't like one, you're not going to like the other. So that's why I kind of lump them together. But man, I love these two games. These are the best games that Emperor S4 has put out. You have to try these. I mean, you know, whether it's Hanamakoji or Geishas Road, I recommend you start with Hanamakoji. But man, it is so good. You know, you want the extras. You know, whatever pre-production copy of Geishas Road you got, trust me, these new editions are a lot better, especially as I'm sad I didn't get any of the Kickstarter exclusives, but there was a few really cool things on there as well. But just the retail version of Geishas Road that is now is definitely worth picking up. All right. Now, where did I play this? Well, I was basically at, there was a little event tonight for Taiwan Board Design and Geishas Road. I know a few people there, a few designers. They've seen some of my content and they like what I do, but I always like to give my praises to these companies because they do what I call hidden gems a lot. You know, these little Asian games that most people have not heard of, may not even try, and I'm like, cool. In fact, one of them, who, you know, I was speaking to with Cinnaver before, literally said one of his favorite games that he had on the Taiwan board game site was this tiny little thing called vegetable stock. So apparently, like, grow the vegetables, manipulate the market, make a fortune in the vegetable stock, whatever. It's basically a 15-minute filler for 2 to 6 players. Okay, tiny little game. How much does this cost me? €9. That's it. €9. You know what? I got to use up my cash euros before I go home, so I bought one. And in fact, I'm going to buy Geishas Road tomorrow. I might even buy more games from Taiwan Board Design. And literally, I mean, there's one called Formosa Flowers. Has anyone played that? I'd be interested to know. But, you know, these little games I like to get because if I don't like them, I've spent next to no money on them, and I'll just put them in a raffle or give them to the Dice Portsmouth Cafe. But if I like them, then, I mean, remember Ohanami? I taught Ohanami to Paul and a few others the other day. They all liked it. That cost me £6, and you guys referred that one to me. These little fillers are worth their weight in gold when you find a good one. So I'm excited to try this one. But some random guy also came and gave me this. I have never heard of this one. It's apparently another 2-player 15-minute abstract game. Said if we could review it. I don't know if I'll be able to find the time, but I'm going to try. I mean, 15-minute abstract game. How hard can it be to get this review? But you know what? Could be a hidden gem. I want to try it, so why not? But it was good. We got fed pizza, beer. I got to chat to them. But we also played another game. Although, let me just respond to a couple of them very quick. I didn't see you today. Sorry, buddy. I mean, I was wandering around in the meetings, but I'm on Greater Than Games booth the next 2 days. So if you want to catch me, Hall 1, forget the number of the booth. It's on the right-hand side of Hall 1, but I'm at Greater Than Games the next 2 days. So you want to say hi, you got to come there. So yes, definitely tomorrow. Geishas Road, even if you haven't loved Hanamakoji, yes, because I have both and I like both. Geishas Road is advanced Hanamakoji. So if you want the lighter version, Hanamakoji, you want the heavier version, Geishas Road. Evening to you, Phil, as well. Yep, sorry, Pascal, but like I say, Greater Than Games, next 2 days, all day tomorrow, first half of Sunday, and then me and Paul are going home. So best get me tomorrow at Greater Than Games if you want to get hold of me. And yep, Tammy's explained it. Okay, let's take another swig. Right, what next? Oh, yes. I'm going to review this one along with a game called World Splitters. I've got to pick that copy up tomorrow, actually. Must remind myself. But we did, before I left, because I only got to play 2 games. I thought I was going to blitz through a ton of games there, but we were eating, we were chatting, so it wasn't really a blitz games thing. But I did at least get to try this little thing out, right? This is called World Exchangers. It's from Emperor S4, and it's one of their new games. Set in a futuristic time, so everything looks all cyberpunky and that, but forget the theme. This is it's a stock market game with a bit of a twist, okay? It is an economic game, but I better hold the picture up a little bit more and see. No, you can't have my cash cards. Let's see there. So, it's hard to see. But basically, it's not a roll and write or a flip and write, even though you use dry erase pads. But basically, what you're doing is it goes over 12 rounds, 1 round for each month. And what you do is that you're buying and selling those city cards. So the city cards are in different colors, different cities, and they cost a certain amount. If you sell them at certain months, as pictured on the card, you actually get a bonus to do so. And you can do some special ability stuff with influence and a bit like that. But the core of what you're doing is you're trying to cover symbols on your chart there that you're drawing on. But what it is your cash flow. So you start with a certain amount of cash and some cities. You then do month one and you decide to buy or sell. You then draw a line between what cash you have now and what you have after the fact. And you keep doing this, and it looks like a stock market graph. But you're trying to cover symbols. And the more symbols you cover, the more points you get at the end for various things. So you're going to micromanage your cash flow like an economic game. But you're also trying to do this kind of almost spatial puzzle with this like stock market graph, trying to go up and down in the right way. There's a few ways you can tweak it and do cool stuff with it, but that's essentially the game. It looks nice. It's got very nice cyberpunky, like futuristic artwork, good dry erase pens, good boards. You've got a score sheet. The rules are very simple. I mean, to be fair, I actually learned the rules better than where we were being taught because, God bless them, they had a language, English not being their first language, I can get it. But I read the rules for about 5 minutes or something beforehand, and it's like, yeah, I can teach this game. It's pretty easy. It would be filler length if you don't overthink it. And this is, I thought it was quite good. I thought this was a nice little twist on an economic game, because I normally don't like economic games, but this is a light-hearted economic game, all right? It's like a cool, funky twist. But if somebody plays this seriously, they're going to hold the game up because it could cause people to AP, even though the actions are quite simple. So don't take the game too seriously, and the game will end up being a pretty cool little filler. And yeah, I was intrigued. So far, good first impressions, but I need to play it a few more times to see if it stays that way with multiple plays and multiple groups, different player counts. But so far, World Splitters was a nice, cool filler. I have not tried World Splitters, but I've heard good things. I think I bumped into, what's his name? I think it's Hank Rollerman, or I think it's how you pronounce his name. Basically, he's the guy on Board Game Geek and Instagram who does a lot of photos, so he was there. But yeah, these were two cool games that I got to play. So that was from today, okay? And going back through my pictures, oh yes, my brother has just recently, as I passed a photo of my brother, he's recently just given birth to his second kid. So, yep, I'm an uncle yet again. Not that I'm a massive kid fan, but congrats to my brother. All right, so I don't think I mentioned these particular games much, except for on Facebook and that. So why don't we go to yesterday? I played Evergreen. So this is Evergreen, again from Horrible Guild Games. Now, man, I think the creators of photosynthesis need to sue this company because it borrows so much from photosynthesis, it's unreal. You get points by trees from sunlight that goes around your board. Hello, photosynthesis. You grow trees from twig to tree to bigger tree. Hello, photosynthesis. A big tree will block shadow to the tree behind it. Hello, photosynthesis. It's like, excuse me? It's like, this is borrowing so heavily from it. But what you're effectively doing is you're planting the trees on your sort of weird, it's very bright, here we go. Your sort of globe thing there. And different biomes. And the idea is that those cards you can just about see above my board, they represent the biomes and a special action. On the top of your board, you can see those purple cubes there. They level up several little tracks which correspond to the bonus actions. And so when you take a card, you take it from a row and you draft in turn. The card tells you what biome you're allowed to. Is it? Oh, is it the same designer? Okay, fair enough. We'll let him off. We'll let you off. And yes, I did like Canopy. I talked about that in my previous vlog episode. But yes, okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah, fair enough. I'll take that as a point. Yeah, okay, fine. I didn't pay attention to what the designer was, okay, but maybe he will sue himself. I don't know. Oh yeah, speaking of which though, while you're on the chat, just before I continue with Evergreen, yeah, had fun with this. This is the quotations from Board Game Rambling's Revive review that sits on a placard sits on a board at Essen, right? I love the fact that Johannes says shoots fun all over the place. I don't know what the visual representation of that is meant to be, but that was a funny quote. But look at the one that Sunniva made over here. And you'll be like, oh, that's a squirrel. Sunniva, Board Gaming Ramblings. Did you run out of nice things to say about your game? Because like, did Sunniva not say anything else in that review to say this game's amazing, this game's great, the exploration's fantastic, and you get a squirrel. That's the weirdest quote to take from someone. I mean, it made me laugh. If anything, it's a humorous thing. But I just thought, like, did you run out of nice things to say? I have no idea. But as I say, I've seen your review. You both love it to bits. I think, well, I wasn't going to buy it because I'm sorry, €80 is not going to happen. But you know, €80 is way too expensive for this game to buy it on a gamble. But on top of that, I think Jeremy did say he might be able to get me a review copy of it, but to be honest, I doubt that's going to happen. So I think I'm just going to wait for Revive to come out on retail and do it then. I've got enough games to review as it is. If I add Revive to it, I think it would just be all over the place. There is nothing wrong with Squirrels. I like Squirrels. I just thought it was the funniest quote to say, like, you know, this game's amazing, and there's squirrels. Okay, fine. And no, I've not played Lacrimosa yet. I have bought it though. Expensive ripoff at €70, but I have bought it, and that will get played and reviewed in the normal way. And yes, I'm aware of Stefan Feld and his ridiculous €125 City Collection games. Paul has those. In fact, I ordered him to transfer them out of my car to someone else for two reasons. First, well, actually, we'll get to that in a minute. Let me go through the Evergreen one. So, yeah, I mentioned Evergreen. So fair enough, same designer. But you draft the cards from a row. Each biome tells you where you can plant your trees and stuff. So if I take the ice one, it's got to be in the ice biome. But then the bonus action levels up the track by one, and then you get to do the bonus action, which may be bonus tree growing, bonus twigs, bonus rivers and little bushes and stuff like that. But the more you take cards with that special action, the better the action gets. So you can create your own little differentiation from the other players. But that bit is fine. I mean, growing trees on your little board is fine and all that, you know. I mean, I've seen it before, but it's a nice little puzzle. I really like the card system, though, because when you take the cards, the one that's left goes on top of a column of all the different colors, and the points at the top add or subtract to the value of that biome for the big trees at the end of the game. And it could potentially like make a biome really lucrative, but it could also kill one off. And that decision is quite cool. So I thought the card system was probably the best part of it. The game's fine. I enjoyed it all right. We had a very bad teacher. I mean, 2 rounds into the game, and I barely knew what the goal of the game was. I mean, seriously, tutors, you need to at least tell me what the aim of the game is. But, you know, all in all, I thought it was fine. It's a fine game. I didn't think it was amazing. 6, maybe 7. I preferred my Shelfie overall. But yeah, Evergreen was fine. I just don't think it was anything particularly special. Although I think I probably do prefer it to photosynthesis now. I think it's a little bit less mean and a bit better to get into it. Is Paul doing a live ESSEN stream tonight? I have no idea, but I don't know where he is. I didn't see him downstairs when I got back. And frankly, I need to do this stream. So sorry, Paul, I got in first. You've been getting in first the last 2 days. It's my turn now. But yeah, so, you know, Evergreen was okay, but nothing major. Speaking of Sunniva, yeah, it was very nice to see her today. We sat, me and the guy from Taiwan Board Design, we sat down with her as she was trying to decrease the weight of her suitcase with all the games that she'd got. So she was cannibalizing a bunch of her games to get them sorted to take on the journey home. So we kept her company for a while. But it was nice to see some of her. It's a shame we couldn't see you, Johannes. It would have been nice to see the two of you. But oh well, hopefully next time, eh? That'll be good. What else did I play yesterday? Yes. Oh, yes. Hello. Who's interested in that? War of the Ring, the card game. So I got 2 photos for that one. So I took 2 there. I finally got the chance to sit down and play that one because I was really interested to see what this one would have been like because I've got the War of the Ring big game. It's a good game. It is far too long, far too complicated, and it's only 2 players. So I'll be selling it very soon. But I respect that the game is good. I enjoyed my plays of it, but man, it is impossible to get this thing to the table. So it's a bit of a nightmare. I'm going to do a Q&A at the end, James. Don't worry. But War of the Ring, although to be fair, actually favorite game so far. All right, fine. Spoiler alert. This is my favorite game so far. I really enjoyed my time with this. We only did 2 rounds. 2 rounds of this, but it was 4 players, 2v2. You sit at opposite ends like diagonal wise, and 3 peoples versus 3 people. I had hobbits and wizards and Rohan, and my partner had Dunedain and elves, and then there was a Mordor player, and then there was like I can't forget the Sauron, the Isengard and stuff like that. It is pretty much sold out because they couldn't get a lot of their stock, and so they pretty much barely had, like, after pre-orders, something like 30 copies a day. So I tried it on one day, and then I went there the next morning before the show started, saw him getting about 10 out of the box, and said, mine, yoink, bought, €50, bought it. And to be fair, €50 was not a bad price. I mean, yeah, it's only a card game, but to be fair, considering I paid 70 for Lacrimosa, I'd take 50 for ordering the card game. But you can play it with 2 or 3 players. There's ways in the books you tweak it. I think 2-player, you just shuffle the decks together. I'm not sure how 3-player works. I guess pretty much the same. You just have 2 people with the set decks and one person shuffles the rest together. I'm sure it's doable. But I think this shines more as a 2v2 because you got to cooperate with the other player, but the other players can hear what you're doing. So there is that. But what kind of happens is that each of you, it's done by the same guy who did the Quartermaster series, Ian Brody, and the Quartermaster General series, and they're pretty cool games. But he's definitely borrowed heavily from the card mechanic in it, because in that game, it was all about, you had this deck of cards, it was unique to you, but you had to micromanage it as a resource for the entire game, because the more you committed earlier, the less you had later. This is the same thing. You've got 9 effectively like paths or rounds that you've got to go through, and it's the stage of the journey of the ring to Mount Doom. And the idea is that you've got a path card and a battleground card. You're fighting and contesting over both of them. The battlegrounds get you like some victory points and cool abilities, but the path is also a kind of attack and defense stuff. It alternates between which side is defending what. But what you do is that you place cards either in your reserve to do special abilities, or you play them out on the actual battlegrounds or the pass. And so it's a tug of war between the opponents. But of course, there's 2 of you and 2 of them, each with different cards. I mean, I can play Gandalf the Grey along with a Shadowfax or whatever, and that's all well and good. But then I've won the path, and now they get eliminated out of the game, and now I no longer have Gandalf. It's like, maybe I should have hung on to him for a little bit. And, you cycle cards so they reshuffle later, but you might also have to eliminate cards, which means they're gone from the game entirely. And if you've committed them to a battleground in that, they will be, for the most part, other than special abilities, eliminated from the game. The only time they cycle back into your deck is if nobody contests you. So you could just throw a throwaway grunt out just to make certain that the opponent doesn't suddenly have, Saruman, like screw you over later. But I really enjoyed this. I thought this was going to be really complicated. Like, oh God, this is going to be like War of the Ring, the board game with too many rules in that. It's not. I mean, we had a good teacher, fair play to him. We gave him good feedback on the forums, but taught us the rules, very straightforward. You've got a good reference card that tells you how the whole turn sequence works and how and the glossary for the keywords that you get. The cards themselves are easy enough to understand. For the most part, you can sometimes get a little bit mixed up as to whether the shields matter or the swords matter, but the abilities on the cards aren't too tricky. This is not a light game. It's probably midweight, and it's certainly more for people who are used to playing card games in that respect. But I really enjoyed this. I thought it was solid. Good bit of cooperative fun, team versus team, thematic. The characters do what you would expect them to do, but the whole idea that deck of cards needs to be managed really tightly. It's all well and good saying I committed and I've won the first 3 rounds, but if that means that you've got next to nothing to commit later on, your opponent's going to run rings around you, no pun intended, run rings around you at that point. So it takes probably the best element out of Quartermaster General, which is everything other than the theme in that game, and puts it with a theme that's actually interesting. So I really enjoyed this. I want to play it more. I bought it for €50. I knew I was never going to get a review copy, so it's like, fine, I'll buy it. But I will give this one a full review once I've had a chance to play it with the different player counts. But yeah, overall, I think it's my favorite game I've played at the convention so far. Bear in mind, I've not played any of these massive ones like Lacrimosa or Ottawa or all the other ones. I bought them for review to play when I get home. I'm not spending 3-4 hours learning a giant Euro in a hotel room at Essen. That's just not the way. But yeah, War of the Ring out of the ones I've played has definitely been a favorite so far. All right, what else we got? Oh, yes. Tawaniku. I think that's how you pronounce it. Tawaniku. This is sit-down games. And so this one is interesting, actually. I didn't really know what to make of this, but here we go. So first off, the production quality of this is stellar. Now, you are looking at the deluxe version here, but even the non-deluxe version has that cool dial there, which is multi-layered. It's got like a disc in it that you twist around, and it's mathematically sorted to do the game. But this is kind of like a weird Minesweeper board game. So you're moving. Whoop, try and get a better view. So here you go. You're moving meeples around on this map, and the map consists of like blank spaces, but also these different terrain tiles. And you can either explore, which is go on the terrain tiles, and based on certain rules, certain terrain has to be next to other terrain, but up to a maximum of 5 spaces. You can also divine a location, which is basically farming or checking what's there. Now, the discs are numbered 1 to 5, and typical Minesweeper rules or something similar, it basically the same number can't appear right next to or diagonally from another one. So those reds are frees. If there's a red free there, another red free cannot be touching anywhere around that red free. And if there's a terrain group of 5 things, then there has to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 within there. There can't be any duplicates. So the idea is that you're moving around the board trying to figure out which of these bits are which discs. So it's a kind of weird deduction game. But there's other ways to score points by exploring different tiles of terrain. So, if you diversify with the terrain you explore, you get more points. You're trying to figure out, well, if I explore that tile, that's got to be a forest. I don't have a forest tile yet. I should probably go there. And you can block each other. And there's some cool, little things in there. Now, it looks drop dead gorgeous if you get the deluxe version. I mean, those wooden tokens, the meeples, the little resources, the artwork. This game is gorgeous. But there's a problem. I enjoyed the game and I thought it was a nice little charming game, and I thought it did a nice kind of cryptid levels of deduction knowledge, and if you're used to games like Minesweeper, it's pretty good. But this is a pricey game. The normal game is about 60 odd euros. That's quite a bit for the basic game. And that doesn't have those cool wooden tokens. I don't want cardboard tokens when I've played those wooden tokens. Those wooden tokens are just sublime. But 60 euro is still quite a bit for this game. If you buy it with the deluxe stuff included, the wooden tokens and a couple of other things, 100 euros. Okay, Tawaniku, Tawaniku, whatever, is a good game. I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. I'd endorse it and I'd say it's pretty good. It's not 100 euros good. No way. It's probably not 60 euros good either. This needed to be a little bit on the cheaper side, and then I could sort of give it more praises. That being said, if I had the deluxe version in my hand, I would love it and I would probably keep it. But I'm not paying 100 euros for it. Sorry, no sorry, Bob. And 60 euro was a bit too much for me as well. So a good game, just a little bit overpriced. I'd be interested to see what this comes out as retail. Oh no, here's the best thing I bought at the Essen. Here we go. Best thing I bought. There you go. No, I don't mean Attawar. I mean the plushie bat. 10 euros they were selling these little plushy fruit bats or whatever to go with Attawar. And I just thought, you know what? I got so many mascots on my videos. I just want another plushie. So it's like, yep, we got a little plushy fruit bat, little cute little bat. He's going to sit on some of my videos and you're going to notice him alongside Fizzcake and all the rest. And I've already mentioned Heat and Splendid Duel, so you'll have to watch my other vlog for that. But there's Splendid Duel. Just to recap, amazing game. Bruno Cafala does it again. We're talking. I will get this for review, but not until after Essen, as they're going to send me a copy. But first impressions, this is potentially a seal of distinction level game. It really was that good. And I also taught Heat, which was pretty solid as well. Not 60 euro solid, but it was still pretty solid, despite the fact one player was slowing us down quite a bit. It's like not a tricky game at all, but for some reason he just wasn't getting it. But yeah, this was good. A bit long. 2 laps of this does take a long time. In fact, I think we only did 1 lap because it was taking so long. It suffers from that similar length problem that Formula D has, but it kicks everything else about Formula D down to the curb. So yeah, this was a pretty solid game, but I'm going to get this one probably on retail or via Kienda and that, so we'll see. And sadly, I just noticed the other picture that I had. I did not get a chance to play Horizon the Spirit Island yet, but I do have a copy. That's my swag for doing the Greater Than Games booth. I got Horizons the Spirit Island. Oh boy, you can bet I'm reviewing that one. Flamecraft, War of the Ring. Oh yeah, this is all the stuff from the new releases. So and oh yeah, Meadow Downstream. I haven't reviewed that expansion yet, but Joanna is going to send me after Essen a copy of the expansion for Meadow, so I will be doing a Beyond the Base Game video for that. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the games I've played. I've not played a lot of games here. I've just bought a fair amount or got review copies. I'd probably say I've purchased more than I've got as review copies, but as I say, I've got quite a bit. Lacrimosa, Atiware, Vengeance, Roll and Fight, Hamlet. I already mentioned Atiware. This little vegetable stock here. I'll get some of the Empress 4 stuff, World Splitters, World Exchangers. I mean, mainly, honestly, the only major release there, the only two major releases there I don't think that I'm reviewing is Great Western Trail Argentina for obvious reasons, unless you want to see me go on a massive rant for 30 minutes, which, to be fair, would be good fun, but let's face it, kind of predictable. It's Great Western Trail with added bits. It's basically Brass Birmingham for what Brass did. This is our Great Western Trail with extra bits, whatever. I'm still going to hate the game. But I also didn't buy Revive. Revive could be amazing. I don't know. You'll just have to take Board Game Rambling's view on that one. But and probably Jeremy Howard's, because I think he reviewed it. Yeah, so you have to take their viewpoint on it for it being amazing. I don't know yet. Could be amazing. Porter does flip-flop with games that are great. I mean, they did Automania, which was a brilliant game, but then they also did The Magnificent, which was pretty dull. So, tomato on those ones. But yeah, that would be one that I would like to play, but for 80 euros. And it's not just 80 euros, it's 80 euros plus 80 hours queuing. Because every time you tried to get in the Madigo booth, the queue was insane. No, 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 no. I'm not queuing for that long on a gamble. Now, granted, I regretted that when I didn't queue for Ark Nova. But then Johannes queued for 90 minutes to get Ark Nova. No, I'm not queuing for that long to get a game. I don't care how amazing it could be. So we'll see. Revive will just have to come later. Righty. Okie doke. So 46 minutes. Let's get 15 minutes of Q&As in. So if you've asked a question already, then say it again now. Okay, we'll start with Tony's here. Okay, so what do we got here? Do you avail of the nightlife in Essen? Plans tonight, early hours. Well, with the Patreon meetup for Paul Grogan's thing, we do the we do his Patreon meetup at Fitzpatrick, and that's always good fun. I always enjoy it, and we go there. We had lots of fun. I got drunk with Jeremy Howard and Mark Dainty and Mike Nudd and various other people, and yeah, that's why I had a hangover this morning. So yeah, but that's pretty much the only nightlife I do. I don't go out clubbing. I mean, I'm 38 years old. I don't club. I go to pubs. I enjoy a good beer, preferably a cider, but Germany's not heard of cider, and wine if I can help it. So I like to eat out and drink. That's my idea of evening nightlife. But don't get much time at Essen to do that. Luke's rants are always fun. Yeah, of course they are. Could put a hat on my meeple. I can put a hat on my meeple with Viticulture World. Now, as much as I have problems with Stegmaier Games in some respects, I could put a hat on my meeple in that game and enjoy it more. Did Madigo have a separate pre-order queue? I think they did. If I remember rightly, you had to queue for miles in order to go in the long way to buy the game outright. But I swear I saw a signpost on the exit bit that said queue here if you have a pre-order. How efficiently they were doing that, I don't know, but I swear I saw something like that. So I believe if you're pre-ordering it, you should be okay. However, Saturday, you're coming in on a Saturday, it's going to get busy. You might want to go pick it up first, especially if Saturday clears. Well, there'll be stock because you pre-ordered it, but still, the pre-order queue could still be quite big. You might want to make that your first point of call. How it's come together? I don't know. I've not played it yet. Every time I go by the booth, Vaguard isn't there. I suppose he's going to give me a review copy. I don't know, but I would like to see him. But he's told me he's at the booth from 2 o'clock tomorrow. So problem is I'm demoing with Greater Than Games. But I will have a lunch break at some point. So I guess I'll go try and see him tomorrow. But there's no way I'll be able to guarantee it. Maybe I'll catch him in the morning, but probably won't be there. Why can't he just... Every time I find the other guys there, but I never find him. The game looks interesting, though. One of them explained the rules to me, along with a couple of other people. So I know the gist of the game. Sounds cool, but I have no idea whether I'll like it until I played it. So we'll see. But yeah, I have met the guy. In fact, to be fair, he met me, but because we had masks on and you didn't introduce his name, I didn't recognize him as the designer. So it's like, now I know his face. Did I make any lady friends? Does son of a count? No, that doesn't count, though, right? As it lies. But no, I didn't make any lady friends. I did notice a lot of ladies, and I did talk to some very lovely ladies as part of the meetings. You know, Joanna from Rebel is adorable. Evelyn from Mighty Boards is lovely. Why is it? Is it me or is it just? I don't know if Evelyn's Polish. I think she is, but all the Polish women just seem to be adorable. I don't know why. I've already mentioned what my favorite game so far is at the moment. It's War of the Ring, the card game. That is definitely the best one I have played so far. Granted, I've not played any of these massive ones. What do we got there? When I started working in the UK, I was surprised by all the cider. It became a standard pub drink, and you just cannot get it here in a German pub. Nope. Britain makes the cider, and the West Country makes the best cider. End of story. Let's see what we got. Come together is a lot of fun. I mean, well, I'm sure it probably is. It does sound good fun, and let's face it, Sunniva was demoing the game for them, so I'm sure it's probably enjoyable from her point of view. But it sounded cool, and it looks cool. I laughed at some of the names they put on those group cards or whatever they are, the singer cards. Trudy Ages, I thought was really funny. Wiki Culture, I thought Wiki Culture was quite clever. Those are nice little puns. I thought it was good. It's got some asymmetry. It's got some little interaction with like collaborating with other players on certain things. It sounds cool. I want to give it a play. So hopefully I can catch Vaguard at some point and get a copy. Any upcoming game we should keep a close eye on for the future? Upcoming. Well, there was a prototype box for a Lost Ruins of Arnak expansion. So yes, there is another one in the works. Unfortunately, we don't have any details on it. I believe Studio H has got something in mind, although I don't know if I'm allowed to say, so I won't say any more on that. What else? Trying to think. Joanna mentioned that with Meadow, there is I think it's like a kind of scenario book or something they want to do for Meadow in the future, so you can play like different Meadow setups, which would be pretty cool for that game. Evelyn from Mighty Boards did talk to me about the what's it called? Fate of Khanforge or whatever it is, the Kickstarter that I believe is on at the moment. Sounded quite cool. I mean, it wasn't on my last Kickstarter video because I think it came out after it, and it will finish by the time my next Kickstarter video goes up. So I'll just have to talk about it from a late pledge perspective. But it sounded quite cool. But any other upcoming games? I mean, there wasn't really. Although Unconscious Mind was not. I wasn't able to like check out the prototype for that one there. But the more I hear about Unconscious Mind, the more that does sound pretty sweet. So that's one to certainly keep an eye on. But no, there wasn't really much else in the way of upcoming games. Most of the games that were there were going to be there. Okay, what have we got then? What are your top 3 ciders? Alonso Beach of Strain. I like all ciders. I mean, I like the Weston's vintage stuff. That's pretty nice. I like Sheppy's. Sheppy's would be my favorite. I mean, yes, that's kind of biased because it's from Taunton and I'm from Taunton. But no, I think Sheppy's is the best cider. I also quite like Thatcher's cider. Thatcher's cider is pretty good. So, but yeah, Sheppy's, Thatcher's, and maybe the Weston's vintage stuff. I think that's my top 3 in terms of breweries. Any hidden gems from smaller publishers that have caught your eye? Well, I don't know. I'll let you know about this one in due course. But that caught my eye. I mean, honestly, look at the Asian games. Look at Empress 4. Look at Taiwan board design. You'd be surprised how many little hidden gems they do. Geishas Road, Hanamakoji was a hidden gem for me at one point. Those little card games are really good. And World Splitter I enjoyed as well. Check out those companies for some nice small games. How would you compare this spiel with previous ones? Okay. Let's see. Just double check. I was looking at my phone to see whether Paul was actually waiting for me to get off this, but I don't know what he's doing. But like I say, maximum, I'll keep this an hour max. Let's see. So how would I compare this spiel with the previous ones? It's kind of the same, really. The numbers are about similar to last year, I think. I mean, tomorrow's going to be hectic, but I never felt like I couldn't move. So it's been, a bit more easier, although having to wear masks so we can't talk like this gets frustrating. We better have got rid of those masks by next year because it's annoying. I mean, the fact that I'm doing this for an hour is probably not going to help my throat for tomorrow, but demoing a game through a mask. Ouch. I'm actually tempted that if I come back next year and they have to wear masks again, I might get a portable microphone and put it on my belt because I saw somebody at Roxley Games had one and it projected his voice. Might be useful to get one of those. But yeah, I mean, the spiel is fine, although I've noticed that certain people aren't there. There was no Board Game Geek booth, and there seemed to be less booths from people that are just there to post Twitch videos and stuff like that. So it was mainly focused on games, which is a good thing. That's kind of what I want. But there was a few other publishers not there. Like I spoke to the guy at Cosmodrome Games. They're not there because apparently anybody with any kind of a Russian connection was banned from Spiel this year, or at least was told not to come because of you know who. For crying out loud, not everybody in connection with that country is to do with that, okay? You know, there are limits to this, but apparently some publishers were not allowed to come to Spiel because of it. So it'll be nice next year if these things resolve themselves. You know, if we can end this like horrible conflict, then you know, perhaps we can see some of these publishers return next time. But yeah, the Spiel's been good as it always has been. Any demo of Andromeda's Edge from Luke Laurie? I haven't seen Luke Laurie. I haven't seen any Andromeda's Edge anywhere in the convention, so no idea. Maybe that's what Paul's referring to. We're in the same hotel. Really? Well, you're in the Premier Inn somewhere, are you? Fair enough. Did you get to play Spaceship Unity or watch others play in a glass box loving room setup? Spaceship Unity. What is Spaceship Unity? Spaceship Unity. Spaceship Unity BGG. Okay, this looks season 1. What kind of game is this? So that's your game, is it? Transform your home into a spaceship and experience a fantastic story. 60 to 120 minutes, 2 to 4 players. Ulrich Blum is the designer. Isn't that the same guy I was speaking to at Queen Games? Publisher Pegasus Spiel. I have no idea. I mean, season 1.1. Okay, episodic story. No, I haven't really looked at this. Any good? I honestly have no idea. I've not heard anything about this one. Sorry about that. Nope, it's Sheppy spelt with a Y. Any good purely solo games? I haven't personally played any like purely good. Well, saying that, Stellarium is there. Stellarium, which is the next one in the Oniverse series. I haven't played it, but I got to explain the rules, and I figured I might pick it up when it's cheaper in the UK. Sounds good. You're basically micromanaging these 8 decks of cards in order to launch 8 ships into space, but the rules for what you can do with these cards, depending on the symbology, is kind of like a mixture of Aerion and Onirim. And so you've got to be crafty with the abilities and that in order to get the symbols you need on top of the decks in order to launch the ships. Sounds cool. It sounds like another fun game from the Oniverse line. But, oh, hello. My roommate said, don't worry, I've only got another 5 minutes for this. Well, actually less than that even, and I'll be done. Yeah, you can sneak past. He's my roomie, at least for tonight left. But what was I going to say? Yes. There's another one, I think it's called like Anlin Neff or something. I don't know. I forget the name. If somebody can remember what that solo game is, I would certainly like to remember. But no, I haven't really seen anything else that's good, pure solo games, to be honest. What do we got here? So, where is Luke on addressing our questions? Well, Tony, did I answer your one earlier? Let's have a look. Tony. Because I was telling people to basically, let me know and quick fire the questions. So do I need to go back to? Oh yeah, I already talked about the nightlife in ESSEN early hours. So I already did that one. Okay, what do we got? Wen from BGG said they're not doing booths at anything this year because of masks and to give everyone from BGG an opportunity to check out the show. Okay, cool, fair play. What do we got? Resist. Somebody told me about that. Oh yes, the Alex from Two Tomato Games or something. I think he wants me to play Coral and Resist. He mentioned those 2 games specifically, and he recommended them to me. Resist sounded okay from the preview that we did with Mike Dennis and Paul Grogan and that. I don't know if it's for me because I don't really go for the whole war game theme, but I'd give it a try. Have I seen Cthulhu Death May Die Season 3? Nope, I saw nothing to do with Cthulhu Death May Die. Aleph Null, Tony Bordell design. That is the solo game I was trying to think of. I've seen it there. I think it was on sale, but I have not bought it. Oh, the new Spirit Island may rise to the top of solo games. Fair enough. That's pretty cool. Anyways, 59 minutes 30. I should probably start wrapping this up now for an hour because obviously I want to give Paul a chance to do his vlog and I don't want to stop Stefan from coming in here all day, although he has left again, so who knows. But yes, I could also do with an earlier night because of obviously demoing it greater than games. So thanks for coming on the live stream, guys. I'll possibly do a vlog tomorrow, but honestly, I don't know what else I would really say on the diary apart from I spent the whole day demoing. But maybe I could do a quick vlog in the evening just to say how the demoing went and whether there was anything, anything interesting that happened. But for now, I'm just gonna, deal with what I've got in the room, watch some YouTube. There's some Angry Joe and Nostalgia Critic videos on here. Oh, you want to vomit his, well, you want to be disappointed yet also amazed at the same time? Watch the Super Mario trailer that's recently come on. The Super Mario movie trailer is out, a teaser trailer. Visuals 10 out of 10. Bowser 10 out of 10. Jack Black is perfect as the voice. Chris Pratt as Mario. What the are you thinking? Oh my god. His voice sounds nothing like it should for Mario. It was the stupidest choice for a voice actor to do it, and it's going to be really distracting. I mean, this is... Do you remember when the original Sonic the Hedgehog movie trailer came out, when that horrible looking like human eye and teeth version of Sonic was done, and they retconned it to make it look good? I feel like they need to do a retcon of this in the same manner to get the voice actor for Mario in, because why didn't they just get him? I don't know. But anyway, going on about a random thing. And no, actually, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey looks like an interesting... Well, I don't really go for gross out horrors anymore, but to be fair, the concept of it sounds funny. So we'll go with it. So it'd be quite cool. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to wrap it up there. Let's give Paul Grogan a chance to do his stream if he's planning to do it. I don't know what he's doing because he hasn't messaged me or anything. I would have thought he would have pinged me to say, Luke, get off the street, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. I'll speak to you again soon on another diary, and I'm pretty sure that when we get home from Essen, Paul, despite the fact that I want to go to bed and go to work, is going to want us to do a dual stream when we get home, and that's not till like 10 o'clock at night or something on the Sunday. So we'll see. God, I'm going to be knackered on Monday morning. Anyway, thanks, everybody. Love you all. Remember, it's only a game. And, oh, has he already done his stream? I don't think I saw him do a stream tonight. Oh, whatever. Anyways, I'll see you soon. Take care, guys. Good night.